looked super solid. And I suppose technically he must have guaranteed himself top 6 actually after that last one.
He would have, which would be his, I guess, career best if I'm right in my stats there.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. If I'm Myztro, I'm looking at this and you're hoping Av3k wins. And on the loser bracket, actually, there's another LATAM superstar in Nosfa. He's playing the loser of this game, and I spoke to him earlier, and he told me he wants Av3k to lose because he's got a negative record against Av3k, and he needs to restore the balance. Okay. So we've got opposite wishes from both LATAM players, but we are jumping into this one. Ruins, Av3k on the Galena, base, or yes base, on the Ison.
Buckle your seatbelts because this could be a long, drawn-out series. It could go to a map 3 depending on how the scenario goes. What a beautiful rocket straight away is base now. Hits another rail, does back away. Heavy is still up, has left it for a while, and already this early on here, Dan, the timing of the art has been heavily segregated. His base just really hitting his shots.
Is indeed, and that's when base is obviously scary. There is times where his aim looks unparalleled, and there's other times where he's just not hitting as much as one would expect from him. So, lovely start from him to settle his nerves, if there is any there. He shows no emotion. As he moves on down towards the heavy as well. Av3k going to drop down, nearly gets caught. Base predicting that absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, it's bad for Av3k, just already reading his opponent so early on, but just relying more on his audio cues, if anything else. As Mega's upcoming. Next 10 seconds, his base is going to be headed towards that from the nail area. His Av3k's now also going to be there. The problem is, though, Av3k's at that choke point, isn't he? So he's going to struggle. He realises that he just has to back down. No way of fighting that.
No way at all. Base drops down. He's already got this big split onto the 2 major items. We've seen Base in the past win this 1-0 at the end of a 10-minute brawl. He's somebody that can just keep this split consistent, play so methodically around the map. Picks up the Mega, drops to the stairway, the safest route back down to the heavy. Not fast whatsoever by pressuring his opponent. You see once again, he's back round for his Mega. He's got the rotation, the turret's down. And Av3k's going to have to retreat. The spam's coming out just to take out the turret, but nothing to base. Back down, stairwell, rinse and repeat. Whilst I say it's safe, it's also one of those habits that the best players can exploit. If you know what your opponent's going to do, if you know the routes they're going to take, no matter how safe they think it is, you can play around that. So at this point in time, Av3k is just respecting that positioning, respecting the rotation, and thinking about the next step. How am I going to catch him out? Where's this rail angle going to come from? And here's the first play. He's moved in early onto the Mega. He knows the timing. He's taking a big one-on-one fight here. Av3k looks like he's coming out on top. The Mega's going to come up as well. The rail connects and Base is the world of pain. Av3k, though, trying to chip away. He's got 1 health. Is he going to let Base live?
Oh, and even then, doesn't manage to get away. It's a shame for him, but Av3k finally found that opening you were talking about, Dan. Going straight in already, very early on. He's going to try and look for a second.
Nice.
And manages to get it. And he got a slimmer of health, though, but the main thing is he's able to extend his lead. And talking about it as well, I would have assumed that Base would have gone for the Galena anyway, but going back to it, he's trying to approach the courtyard as Av3k does get a little bit more damage onto Base. Hits that initial rail. Could definitely try and go for the third as Base now backs him off. One more rail should do it if he stops him, and he stops him in the process before going for the Mega. And the talking point I was going for was the fact that even with Av3k, he needs to realise when he throws down the turret, and then he can potentially go for the next item with a better opportunity.
Yeah, real ballsy play by Base, and he got it again. Av3k is not that weak, and one of the weaknesses of Base's style so far on this map in playing that very condensed route is the fact that Av3k already has the overstack. He's used it twice already. And it puts Base in a tricky predicament because he's going to have to break out of his comfort zone to go and find these totems. He's not found a single one so far. The turret, should I say, has been almost irrelevant in this match, but the Galena pick looking the stronger of the two. And Av3k now, without the right weapons, but we know how powerful Av3k's plasma/nail gun can be. Base just not even looking to commit, having an eaten a rail earlier on, and Av3k's going to work on his way out of there. An absolutely free pickup.
He might have even thrown Base off here, because we know Base likes to use the Galena as well. And used to always place those totems in the heavy area, but now it's to use the eyes. But still doing a good job of it so far. But Av3k's reading Base a little bit better now, and You can play the mind games here, just sitting in courtyard, just waiting for this next light to appear. But the problem is, though, he's stuck, he's trapped. That's the cue now for Base to try and put some additional pressure on and try and clean this up. But look at the stack, surely should get taken down. But Av3k with his great rails just pushing him back even further. And in the end, Base decided to prioritise the heavy, which is perfectly understandable.
I wish Av3k would just get a rocket.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that for a while.
Caught from behind, that's pretty careful. Base knows where his opponent is. He's going to push on in. Av3k, though, more than ready with the rail. Has a totem if he needs it. Might just drop it behind the wall here. Whilst that fight was going on previously, Base has done a good job to take out the totem fortress. He's found them all on the map, so good awareness to find all of those totems. Does set Av3k back quite a lot. Base dropping nice and early for this heavy as well, just to control the premise.
Yeah, he certainly is. Now Av3k was looking to try and get a cheeky rail before dropping down on that heavy jump pad. Goes back up again. Mega's up in the next 5 seconds. Av3k now just waiting to see exactly what move Base is going to make, and I love that from Base, and deciding to prioritise the frag over the Mega. And that's exactly what he needed in order to try and creep up towards that scoreline. Good machine gun damage though from Av3k.
Yeah, Base not hitting the rails and just being whittled away. Doesn't matter though, he's picked up the round of major items. He's delaying the heavy here, as you can see, just to increase that split. Av3k just tickling him on the way out. Knows, saying, I know where you're at. It's incredibly frustrating. Constant chip damage. Base going up, but he's in a full rocket jumping through that doorway. Look how low he is. Av3k doesn't have the right weapons to finish off his opponent. So Base gets away with that one, but we'll have learnt a lesson about trying to push in on Av3k. And Av3k is just working his way around with Frybot and Nail Gun. That's all apparently he wants to use in this map.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be too fussed about it. As Base now has just picked up the heavy, got a huge stack. It depends how he's going to work with it, but finds him on the nail, but got caught off guard just a tad, which is just already taking so much damage. But of course, Av3k's still way too weak in order to continue that engagement. Av3k down below, Base still up high and just eating up these lights just to make sure there's no room for Av3k to try and get any armor back. As now, if he gets his one initial rail, or could have done, then that would have been, again, another cue for Base to try and regain the lead. And hits that rail on that courtyard. He's actually going straight back up. He's going to catch Av3k, but sadly doesn't finish him off yet.
And this is where it's such a challenge for Av3k, as you pointed out. Base controlling both major items, big split between the two. How are you meant to break that control? Not only that, but he's controlled at least one of the lights so far. And obviously that's all Av3k needs. So it gives you a perfect awareness of where your opponent's going to go, because if they're not challenging for the major items, by Lord, they're going to be going for the lights, and that's where you put your pressure on. Base once again taking away this light. Av3k made his way down very, very early to try and get this heavy. This is a risky play, and he's not even going to be able to get it. He has to work his way on out, eating a rail on the exit, and now that'll be an easy frag for Base, and it's looking more and more inevitable that he's going to scale his lead.
Base has been playing really well. He's been a lot more solid with his rotations and how he's going to try and catch his opponent, and we haven't seen it too often in the past, but Base is definitely showing a lot more signs of life, just picking up the Mega, to still keep control of his items. He knows that against a player like Av3k, he's made some ridiculous comebacks and ruins in the past, and he really can't let down on the pressure. But LG comes out. If he does, then the sixth one, that's going to be so, so important. And Base, again, just very consistent across the board.
It's just ABC gaming at this point. Pick up the items, he's tracking his opponent around, as we said. Av3k's not even able to challenge the major items, which leaves Base with limited options of where his opponent's going to be, and it's easy to then track Av3k down. And unfortunately for Av3k, he's also not had the right weapons in a lot of these situations to counteract these movements from Base. He does have a rail now, so that's why I see a little bit more hesitancy from Base, but Av3k's not even hitting the rails at this point.
And he is in his Base now. Still in full control, but as I say that, a rail from Av3k will give him a bit more breathing room, but the problem is there's still that stack disadvantage. There's still the fact he's got to find 3 frags in the next 90 seconds. It's going to be extremely tough here for Av3k, but let's see what he can do so far. He's looking to try and... He knows he's not going to be able to get the Mega, but at least he can do a little bit of damage on and not let Av3k get too much control on the map, then he should be fine here. Even putting down the turret, but the problem is he's so, so weak, and Av3k's not too far off either. Still going for the hunt, and that was perfect. And I've always said Av3k's so dangerous on this map, even from behind, and still has a bit of time left in order to try and work some magic.
Yes, and as much as the rotation was strong for base, he's also now left that rotation for Av3k to put on the same level of pressure. We will obviously see a plus back playstyle from base now. With 1 minute to go, Av3k has to find a little bit of that Polish magic to forge his comeback and push us to overtime.
Certainly could. The problem is the time's running out, so he needs to try and find something. But base is probably one of the most annoying players to play against in order to, when you're behind in this predicament, Base still able to get away. And even though Av3k's using the LGs, he's kicking by the tad. And even if he takes him down, he's already taken a lot of it already. But great stuff. Heavy's up actually. 30 seconds, Dan. Definitely doable.
Base is there with the rail. Av3k's going to hear him. Question is, can he catch him? He doesn't hit the rail before the TP though, and Base is going to be getting away just for now. Av3k guesses the right way. He knows exactly where Base is. Got the Mega as well. Kept that timing. He's going to catch him right here. How is Base going to get out of this one? He's trying to run, but he's caught on the doorway!
Oh no! Oh no! As if that's happened as well. He only had 10 more seconds left remaining in order to try and secure victory. And I said it earlier, Av3k is so good at coming back on this map as he sees fit. So we are going to the first sudden death here, picking up the Heavy, and Base has gone from in a great position to a world of trouble.
He has indeed, and as we said, this rotation that was set up by Base, as soon as he loses it, he's lost out completely. Av3k also delaying the Mega, giving Base absolutely no awareness of when his items are. Av3k knows where his prey is. He's caught him, he's hit one rail. There's no way Base can get out of this. Surely he's caught on the exit. Av3k, and he bounced around with the rockets, but he does take map 1.
My goodness, you got to remember, Base was up by 3 frags, only had 90 seconds left remaining. You can see the damage and how close it was. Literally 139 damage between the two. That's how tight it was between them. And yeah, that was very, very tough. It would have been a tough loss for Av3k, but for Base, so the fact that he had that lead, and don't get me wrong, he was still playing it quite conservative. He was still making sure to have that defensive posture, getting ready on that heavy jump pad, you know, the usual shenanigans you would normally, with the routes you take. And he's probably wishing, like, maybe if he went on the back stairs or the Heavy instead, you know, these little minor things he could have done in order to just try and waste as much time as possible. But of course, the clip on the wall towards Mega definitely was what cost him.
100%. And we saw at the end on the scoreboard, Av3k was playing with virtually no items. He had 5 Heavies by the end of the game. And, you know, he picked up 3 or 4 of those in a row at the end. So virtually all of his control was in that last minute and a half to 2 minutes. And one of the eternal problems with Base against these best players we spoke about, he had all that control. 6, 7, 8 minutes of almost perfect control and rotation. He didn't punish his opponent. Av3k was under significant pressure, but was able to keep the scoreline within a retrievable distance. And that's exactly what he did. As soon as he got control, the frags began to mount up and mount up. And what a phenomenal comeback as we move on to Awoken now.
It was quite similar to the Zenecu versus Nosfa matchup, where Zenecu had the majority of the control, but just couldn't really find an in, could he? And really wasn't really taking enough risks in order to secure some of those frags. But remember, though, that was Av3k's map pick. We are going to go to Awoken here, but the Strog versus the Doomslayer. And I'd love to know your thoughts on it, Dan, because even with the Strog, you know, with the mobility and the peak there for Av3k, he's definitely going to try and excel. And the problem is for, you know, we even said it even before the match, is the fact that Ruins and Molten Falls is there. So Av3k's going to be pretty happy with the playground he's got on offer. But for Base, though, I still think he's got in with a good chance to take us into a map 3.
He does indeed. The Doom is obviously a stable pick here. It was pretty much the number 1 pick back in the days, the early days of learning the map. I think it's fallen off just a little bit as now the players have worked out the angles a lot better. So just the pure basic movement that Doom offers isn't enough to validate it as a top pick. However, saying that, it comes down to preference and personal style. And we know Base favours just simple positioning and getting away. Whereas Av3k, well, the Strog can put on the pressure, has the Pika for the burst damage, and he has those little health files to recoup. And we know how intense Awoken can be. So don't devalue those. They hold a big role.
That one clip on the wall is what changed the scenario completely. He's not going to look at that pillar the same again, is he, Dan?
Yeah, he's going to do a bit more plyometric training to ensure his jump height is a bit better next time, because he got a little bit stuck, a little bit awkward, and we're moving into another map. He has to reset mentally. It's tough to lose that. He thought he could have won that. He probably should have won that, in all honesty. But here we go. He's lost it.
Here we go. Map number 2 here. Av3k with the early lead. Definitely very close. But in the end, it was Av3k with the victory. This Base now just trying to add all the weapons into his arsenal. So is Av3k here. His Base now just in a decent position, in a good spot at the moment. Just pick up the rockets and just trying to get that early top mid control, early dominance, of course. And now it's just a matter of where Av3k's going to go. And it looks like he's heading towards the rockets. Does catch him a tad. Hits 36 with the LG. 35 rather. And even then, though, does back him away a tad. So just a sprinkle of damage just in order to keep Av3k at bay, and just still trying to go for, well, it depends what item wants to go for. If he wins his engagement, then of course he can go straight for the heavy, but it looks like he's going to back off for this Mega.
Yeah, trading rail means Av3k gets in on that heavy base, though, controlling the exit, making sure the Mega again is split. You know, base loves to do that to separate the items. He just wants that control, full autonomy over the map. Av3k, you can see, trying to work out where his opponent is, but base just still has not moved from this T junction.
He certainly hasn't. Is that it now? Oh, actually got a read there. Using the tribot to see if he's still there though, but base has still managed to peek on out. Speaking of peekers, he just managed to destroy that straight off the bat. Minute 20 in. Not really a huge amount to talk about as of yet. You could say base had early control in terms of map dominance, but the LG comes out from both players. But that was, speaking of dominance, that was huge control and a great tracking from base. And already could catch him again. He's definitely got the stack to continue this on and extend this lead if he can. But oh, what a rail there from base.
Magical, and all of that, Lethal, was born out of the fact that he put that slight delay on the Mega. That gave him time to reposition and go through a different route to attack that item. And although he didn't get it, gave him enough time to put enough pressure on Av3k to get that initiation frag, and then yes, the magic man, that flick rail on Av3k's desperation mode at that point. He left his opponent on 1 HP when I say that, however, which means he can come flying in to follow up here.
I love that from base as well. He had no armor. He knew that the only way he can do this is try and get as much value out of that Mega as possible, and did that perfectly. And it pretty much was perfect. 1 HP, you can't complain about that at all. Space now still on the warpath, wants to try and extend that lead. He knows what base can be like as a comeback. So he's already experienced that in the first map. Awoken is definitely, or you could say even more doable here. Good LG from Av3k just to try and pick base apart, just to even things out a tad. But it looks like it will be, it's the same situation, but in the end, Av3k's the one who actually manages to win that little scuffle. Av3k's still on the push, but in the end, base somehow able to get it away alive. But how long for?
That is the question. Base is somehow staying alive. He's kiting his opponent around the map, and Av3k needs to be careful not to give away too much free damage as he's trying to chase down his opponent. Base is giving up another round of items though. Not connecting with the key exit rails this time, which means Av3k should be able to push on through this T-junction. Base trying to defend it, but he's just not in a position to do so. Has to use the rail to take down that peak, which means that is his exit signal. But this is base being base. One of the masters of the defensive game. And Av3k is having a frustrating time tracking him down. And this is in a similar vein to how we saw Myztro and Wenger. Wenger not able to track down Myztro on the defense. And look at that, Av3k going through a choke point. That was way too risky. Base punishing him for that overextension, and now he's the one already back in control.
Yeah, probably one of the worst times to be aggressive on Sandy, but good rails from Av3k. The Pika comes out, doesn't finish him off yet, but it does with the rail from top mid. 3-1 now still in favour of base, but good way for Av3k to try and close the gap.
So nice from Av3k, using the Pika as a distraction, forcing out the rail and pressuring him on the reload time. Just the simple things, these micro decisions that make such a big difference.
Certainly is. Av3k now full control of the item, segregation's perfect. It's pretty much his way or the highway here, depending on how much damage he can do to base. And already great LG had the only shot, but that missed rail could cost him, and it's gonna, as base does take him down. Gets back top mid, Mega's there pretty much waiting for him, and heavy now's also coming up in 10 seconds. So it's now base in a beautiful spot.
Yes, indeed. 4-1 now. He's just slowly building a lead. Grinding away. Big rockets from below from Av3k. This time nearly with a second follow-up. And again, 10 seconds to go before the next Mega. Av3k will be pushing in base, desperately trying to defend it. And this is like deja vu as he's retreating through the T-con again, following the Pika out. Av3k with all of the control, all of the pressure. He's the one this time that can't find the opening.
Av3k now just biding his time, but can't waste too much. Just at the halfway stage.
5-minute warning.
Av3k with full control of the items at the moment. That rocket is, yeah, even base is just nodding his head thinking, yeah, that just should not have happened. But he also knows that this could be a chance for Av3k now to close on in, but 8 HP. Mega's up in the next 5 seconds. He's not even going to dare to try and stand around and wait for it. Perfectly understandable. Didn't want to overstay his welcome. Still available. Finally gets that last health bubble now to re-engage if he, of course, forced into it. But look at the stack difference so far. Base just binding his time, just keeping Av3k guessing, thinking he may have rotated round. But even though no heavies coming up, Av3k now just picking that up and just trying to see exactly what Base is up to. Finds him in the LG room, does go around towards the hourglasses, heading towards the Mega, and Base is trying to find a way to contest, but really struggling because the positional angles Av3k's holding is just glorious.
Yeah, but at the same time, Base is building this stack back up every single time. He's leaving with 20 HP. Av3k can't find a way to finish off opponent. It's 4-1 to Base. This is a scoreline you can win from quite easily.
Av3k now still trying to get Base to come towards him or force him into a bad situation, but nothing as of yet. Was looking, look at that angle with Base. Read that situation perfectly, just got out of there as soon as physically possible, as he's now just heading around to see if he can get behind him. And this was so good about the top end spots, the fact that you've got most of the audio cues there. You can make a decision how, when, and then see exactly how he goes on forward. Good first rail there. This is time for Av3k to try and close him out. But again, just Base is repositioning himself into a great spot in order to just keep his distance.
I love this double back. He's going to catch Base out in the banana room. And that's such a good read from Av3k. He'll take Base down. He won't even take Base down. He lives to fight another day, and he can't even hit the conversion rail. So frustrating for Av3k as he's making all of the right moves, all the right decisions. It's just that last execution is letting him down.
2 minutes has passed since then. And Av3k's still struggling to... Oh, that's good. Surely that's going to be... Yeah, lovely. Beautiful stuff there. 2 for 2. Av3k's going to take that all day and still got a huge stack. Could catch him on spawn, and it looks like he will do. Surely he's going to win this engagement. Yes, he does. What a way. Nice combo as well from Av3k. And now looking for that one frag. It was a few dying moments there. We had a little bit of time there until to see how Av3k was going to approach this, but already, just like that, 2 more frags added to his name.
And this is the issue, Lethal, what you said. Base isn't able to contest. And look, Av3k's just had free run on the map. I can't even remember the last time Base had a major item. And he's not even doing any damage to Av3k. So the plan here is run and try and just hit defensive shots. And that plan is also being forced by Av3k, who is just playing perfect step by step. He's not overcommitting. So as much as it's frustrating for us to watch the fact that you cannot clean up his opponent, he's still not giving up map control. That is absolutely pivotal to the way he's forging this comeback.
It's just a matter of time now. And if things get a little bit desperate, you could say, for Av3k, but he's got the mobility there, and he should have the stack.
This is a huge item. This is the first time in the last 5-6 minutes Base was able to contest a major item. He hit 2 rails back to back, but this time he doesn't hit one, and in doing so, he saw an opportunity to try and get back control. Doesn't hit his rail. Av3k ties up the game.
Base must be kicking himself at the moment. He wasted so much time with that 4-1 lead.
He has to.
And he needs to try and go for this here, or at least put some pressure on, at least get some damage from him. He hasn't really done anything. I wouldn't say Av3k's getting free roam with the items, but the fact that it feels that way because of the amount of rails that Base is just missing at the stage.
Yeah, but he's a bit it's in desperation mode. This is the first time he's really trying to contest items, and you can see the outcome here. Av3k's more than ready for it. He actually forfeits that. He's caught his opponent down below. This has to be the frag for Av3k to take the lead, and you're right, Base just not connecting. He missed 3 in a row. He hit the exit one, which gives him a small chance here. He has to pressure this heavy. He can't let it go for free, but Av3k is in position with the rail. Base just doesn't have the utility to try and challenge Av3k from this position. Another great rail. Av3k could finish it right here. Only needs a pixel. And Base GG's out. Av3k. Wow, comeback after comeback, Lethal, 2-0 to Av3k, and that means we'll be seeing Av3k versus Myztro and Base versus Nosfer in the lower bracket.
Twice in a row, Base had a decent, comfortable lead, and twice in a row, Av3k found a way in. And, you know, bless him, it took him a while. It took him like a good, 2-3 minutes for Av3k just to find something. And yeah, you're right, though. You know, there was a few engagements where it's like, why didn't he continue to challenge? You know, why didn't? And I think he knew that the stacks were very equal and just wanted to wait for that moment in order to, like, really just tramp on him then. But it was just very, very tough, wasn't it? And, you know, there is, but I do agree with what you're saying there. There was some moments where, you know, he probably could push for it and then see what happens afterwards and try and recover. But in the end, they managed to find it. Had 3 minutes left, and when talking so much about it, as we haven't seen a frag from Av3k for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then got those 2 in the 30 seconds. But some of those rails were beautiful.
We saw, again, the strengths and the weaknesses of Base's style. The fact that in map 1, he had such perfect control for a long period of the game, he wasn't able to build on that. He wasn't able to punish Av3k. Now, this is full credit to Av3k for not letting him do that, but it's still something we see synonymous with Base. And in map 2, Av3k's control was perfect. And the fact that Base then couldn't find a way to pressure Av3k, he was just trying to retain a lead. He left himself vulnerable to all of that mounting pressure from Av3k over the course of 5-6 minutes. Av3k knew he didn't need to force a frag in the first few minutes. He just built pressure, and he built pressure to the point, that tipping point, and then there was no way back from Base. But let's go over to catch up with Av3k, who could talk us through how that match played out.
I feel like it's a running theme that we're going to have so much to talk about every time. So first of all, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Both of those matches, you were playing from behind and you had to make magic happen. And somehow you did. So you're going up against someone like Base, who is unbelievably defensive, was able to put on a lot of stuff that I think would be frustrating for so many players. But you kept that level head, made those comebacks in both games, especially the last game when you're able to just constantly make those call-outs on where he's going to go, and then you can build a comeback from there. I mean, how'd you do it? How do you deal with that much stress?
Honestly, I don't know, because when we played Ruins, I thought it's impossible to make a comeback, because it's like Base hears everything on the map, and his awareness of the game and the game sense is like really strong. I think he did a few mistakes with movement, and I was able to catch him because Galina and Aizen have the same speed and mobility. If I played Slash, I could easily make a comeback, but I knew that if we have same mobility, he can keep running and I cannot catch him. Somehow I did it. I cut off the waves really good. I catch the timing in the end. I had a lot of totems during that game. And basically same happened on Awoken. I did shit tons of mistakes in the beginning. I completely lost timings. I didn't hit my shots. But then as soon as I closed out the control, I knew it's possible to make a comeback.
And you certainly did. But I mean, this is just one of many matchups that you have to play today. Going up against Myztro next. Any thoughts about that one and how the day has been so wild already?
I think he's really good. I think he's like an unorthodox player. He has like specific picks and he's playing aggressive. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna sit down and think about that match now.
Well, I think before we throw to any breaks, by all means, you know, your team has given you lots of support throughout Quake. Are there any shout-outs you want to give before we close?
Of course, I would like to say thank you to Pete and Adam, the owners of Endpoint, the Endpoint itself brand, to our sponsors like Zex, as you can see, Noble chairs. I'm using their chair at home, by the way, so waiting for QPL. And that's it. Thank you also to Myztro for having us. Thanks to Red Bull. And thank you to Logitech for sponsoring this event.
Well done again. We're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have an equally sweaty matchup. Take it away.